Should we vote on color? Should we put up some tests and vote on color, or do that at the end as well?
No,
I think we should do it all at the end, right?
No, we can do it. How about this? Let's show some more. Let's show some really neat content that has only been given to Robert for this demonstration. We've got 12-year-old 720p ABC Monday Night Football, one of the first recorded high-def broadcasts ever. And it's on this disc, and it looks fabulous, and there's a lot of color in it. And you can look around the room.
I don't know if we have permission to IP cast it, but we're doing it anyway. And this is proprietary copyrighted material. It was done in November of 1998. It's the first high definition ABC usage.
So no one else has this?
If you hit the red thing,
nobody else has this.
Rain will come up.
Is it going to be coming out?
The 10 megapixel being better than the 14 because the contrast ratio is better. Well, this is also a great demonstration of, wow, it's 720p. Most people, 720p, oh, that can't be that great. It's half the resolution or less than half the resolution of 1080p. This looks spectacular, and it's 12-year-old stuff. When we were first starting this, when you would think, you know, even cameramen were on a learning curve back then. I remember seeing, you know, watching a sporting event in high def, watch it go in and out of focus, and I realized, gee, the guy he's not used to the high def camera he's using yet.
We also have some fantastic, this has been out before, some fantastic cinematography that Joe directed. I don't know if it's on, I think it's right on here as well.
Yeah, it's on the consumer. We could show that.
Some of the best
you love that restaurant scene.
Well, you know what, I know what it looks like, you know, so I'm able to evaluate the TVs because I'm familiar with the content.
Because you know that rice?
Yeah, I know exactly what it looks like.
That rice should be yellow.
Yeah.
And when it's orange, boy, you know you're wrong.
I know our complexion, I know everything about that scene. This is filmed in November of 1998. It's one of the very first.
We can go back to the contrast ratio voting with this material too.
It's absolutely stunning.
You can use it for both. Use it for both.
This is not film. This is video from a camcorder. This is high def. High def camcorder. 720p at 60 frames per second.
And
this is not Hollywood produced film we're looking at here that has an infinite continuous tone. Amazing image quality, and from here we can see we're showing actual content. Which TV is doing the best job in contrast ratio, in color accuracy, even in motion resolution? You can really see from here. You can judge the panels right from here. You can judge all the picture attributes.
Remember, if you're off angle on an LCD, it's not a fair way to judge it.
Right, because unfortunately the LCDs suffer from the off angle viewing degradation. That plasma doesn't have.
Now, what's the numerical? What are we doing with numbers here?
Well, it's a 1 to 10 on black level. It's 10 being best. It's 1 to 10 on peak luminance. 10 being best again as always. 1 to 10 on color decoding, color accuracy, color saturation. We've combined all that together.
Relative to each other, or relative to just our ideal?
Relative to each other, compared against each other. This is a shootout. We're going to compare these guys against each other. We want to see who's going to get crowned.
Whichever one is the best.
The best TV, automatically. The best in contrast ratio. Who's got the brightest image without clipping? And
yeah, you can have two tens. You can have a tie.
Who's got the deepest black without crushing blacks? Who's giving us the best color accuracy? Who's giving us the best definition, the finest defined image? And who can do best with motion resolution? We have some motion tests later that'll make that easier for you to vote. 10 is your highest number. Look at the panels and see what you feel. If you want to walk around and get dead center to some of the LCDs that have the off-angle issues, you're welcome to do that. My friend Rich Wells, who has to leave a little bit early. This gentleman, when I was a public speaker at CES in Las Vegas, on a panel of experts, flew out to Las Vegas to sit in the audience and support me. I was very, very grateful for that.
Oh, it was a pleasure.
In fact, you may have fallen out to some of the other conventions I was a public speaker at.
I did.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I also caused trouble for some of the other people that have.
Well, that's a good thing to do. I like troublemakers. We're all troublemakers. That's a good thing to do. Thanks very much for your personal support.
And thank you.
Thank you, Rich, very much for coming. See you at CDO.
Okay.
Wow. It really does help move around.
Yeah,
it really
definitely.
does. It
Everybody
really does,
get up
yeah.
and move around and check it out.
It really makes a difference.
Yeah, you're doing it right.
It's worth checking that out.
This one performs very well when you look straight on, but it has the worst degradation of access.
Hold off on your color accuracy because we're going to look at some other stuff before you make that determination.
And I think the motion resolution is probably best with the torture test you're doing as well.
Yeah, let's just stick with black level and peak white if you're voting now, and leave the rest. We'll
but take mental notes on color accuracy as well, because they're going to come to play very shortly. We want to see the people's opinion of the best image quality on the 4 attributes of picture quality. Thanks for moving around. I think that's a fairer way to evaluate them.
Okay.
So, Robert, I think I got a question about the angle dependence. If we're voting so that we're perfectly in front of each panel, is that realistic to what you're in a living or theater environment where everyone is not in front of the TV?
We've been trying to stress that because we want the public, the novice out there that buys a TV, to understand the differences in the technologies of flat panels that are being offered between the backlit LEDs that are the best of the LCDs and between what plasma can do. So we're trying to illustrate that, and thanks for bringing that out, because we need to drive that point home.
Well, it's a clear advantage of plasma because off-angle is a non-issue by comparison. And it's
Off-angle is one of the big issues, I think, as well. And so is, in a lighting-controlled room, the dynamic range that you have in contrast ratio. We can actually create what, to me, looks 3D on a 2D image, because there's so much separation between white and black. We can produce almost pure black and a beautiful white on the new televisions, and then we can have a tremendous gradual gradation across this dynamic range. So we can produce the best image quality on a lighting-controlled room with a plasma television. So, like it or not, those are the facts. We have better off-angle viewing, we have better in-motion resolution, we have better color accuracy, better saturation, better dynamic range, a more detailed, a finer defined image. And you just can't get away from that.
It actually makes me think of one thing everybody should check out is the best off-axis viewing on any of the LCDs in the room goes to the LG.
Absolutely.
Take a look
I don't know how they did it.
Go 45 or 50 degrees off versus every other one of them. You'll see what I mean. It's using an in-plane switching panel. That's one reason.
Right.
An IPS panel. There's probably some kind of a diffuser in there as well. I'm not sure, but it's impressive from that perspective.
Thanks, Greg.
I was going to ask you about the black levels. When we're looking at black levels here, what kinds of things are you asking us to grade these TVs on?
Well, the deepest black.
Yeah,
just the deepest.
What looks the snappiest?
Right. It'll give you that snappy look.
Look at some of the dark blue on the jerseys. This is not the best material.
What about crushing?
Bright.
Are we considering crushing here or no?
Well, but you still get a lot of stuff.
Nothing's crushing.
Nothing is crushing.
They're perfectly calibrated. They're putting out the deep black before they crush.
Sorry.
Okay.
You still get
In depth, no question.
Gamma. That's the part of the gamma.
Like, I mean, I go off actually on the Sony. It's theoretical on
It's not
much better.
It's just, it's unequivocal. Okay, you're in third place.
What kind of gamma did you
We're shooting for 2.2 on everything. And, we'll look at the data later. Some have a more linear, close to 2.2 than others. You'll see. That's a great question because particularly when you're looking at dark material, that's where it becomes extremely important to be nice and smooth and linear on your curve because in dark material, if your gamma is too low, your black level gets raised up. You're seeing things you shouldn't be seeing and your black gets ruined. Conversely, if it's too high, your black level really in detail, it's crushed. Right? So getting it right is really important. 2.2 is generally the accepted reference for flat panels. panel stuff because it doesn't normally live in a dark, dedicated room where you have no light whatsoever. In a home theater situation with front projection, we usually aim for 2.4 because in a room again that's got full control over light. We'll get a little more shadow detail out in those dark areas of the picture with 2.4. Flat panels really don't live on 2.26 to work better is compromised. When you do turn the lights off, you want to watch the movie. There's a lot of products to do. Some products other products it's a very complex question. I think Wayne and I will discuss it with the entire group in depth a little bit later.